I can always go on and on telling you all the details of color, attributes, appearance of the deities, what they each mean, the history behind, many of the history behind the symbolism. There's so many different stories. There are some of the, if you like, I don't know whether we should even namthar, because it's something quite good. We use the word story, legend, but the Tibetans actually call it namthar. Also quite a profound word. Instead of saying yes to something like Cinderella and the seven dwarf, right? That they may call dung. Dung means story. But anything to do with the sublime beings, their life, they don't call it dung. They call it namthar. Something quite. And I've never really paid much attention before, but now paying a little attention is such a good decision to call it. Such a good way to understand. So they call it namthar. Namthar means, I guess, liberation. So they called the epic or the episode of the life of the sublime beings the account of liberation. Quite profound, I think. So for instance, I could tell you okay, why is green Tara green? There's a story about how Nagarjuna and some other Pandita, desperate, totally, disillusioned by the worldly life, devastated by the fear of death, devastated by the uncertainty of life, so on and so forth, just ran, no option, don't know what to do, so ran inside the forest of sandalwood, Singding, we call it. Singding Nach Dharma, we call it. So in there, green lady appeared, and that changed the whole perspective, that there is a hope, there's a liberation, there's an access, there's an exit, there's a, solution. I mean, you can all do whatever you want. She may be really green, or it may be just sunlight hitting the leaves of the sandalwood, and green color. We even call sometimes green Tara Singding Majidurma, meaning, I don't know, how do you translate that? The girl or the lady from the forest of sandalwood. So I can go on and on tell you all this, and I want to tell you this symbolism matters. Where's our French friends? I'm sure there are a lot of French friends here. The French people will know this. Oh, there we go, the French. So, Jonathan, do you know Roland Barthes? Barthes? Right? Is Sudeep? Where's Sudeep? Isn't he here? Okay, Roland Barthes is a French, is he? No. They put a lot of, such a important symbolism. Wow, symbol really, really matters. So in one way, every symbolism in the Vajrayana should not be ignored. Cannot be really just dismissed as a cultural thing. I want to tell you that. Yes, there are a lot of cultural things, such as I would suspect things like washing feet water. That does sound like an Indian. But like a curved knife, Trishula, the three-spoke sort of trident. Very important symbolism. For the tantrikas, aspiring tantrikas, you should really guard by all means. I'm not saying you should get this symbolism and collect it in your living room. I'm just saying you should really guard it by understanding and appreciating the symbolism. I was just reading about this bindi. The Indian ladies put here. What a profound symbolism, that one. It's just incredible. So sadhana also has full of that. But of course, I should tell you, there's a lot of culture that's involved. Anyway, whatever you do, keep in mind the wisdom and method. Don't lose that. At the end, symbol is just a symbol. It's not the end. It's just the means. At the same time, means are important. Keep this. I'm also such a, what do you call it? I feel, many times I feel also good when I appreciate the symbolism. For instance, I read in one of the Mahasandhi texts that once you expound Mahasandhi teachings to people, you should feel that it's like you should act like the mighty emperor who has just won mother of all the battles. You should eat like the emperor. You should dress like the emperor. You should behave like one. And symbolically, you should also put on something what mortal human beings call ornament. So if you are sort of thinking, why I'm wearing this, that's what's happening. I like this kind of thing. I'm always moved by this kind of thing. When I went to South India long time ago as a tourist, I stayed in an Airbnb. This is a really good story. And the owner is always concerned whether I have switched off the light or not. So it costs money, and of course, he's so good. He said, but more than money, he said, it's bad for ecology. Of course, I don't know whether he said, but anyway, he really made me switch off the light. This he asks all the time. Morning, when I go in, he asks this. When I come, switch light. Like that. Stayed in a house, beautiful house, old, family, old, sort of. And every evening, there's this floor, very clean floor, in a veranda. Every evening, one of the family members draws Kali with like a chalk, or almost like a sand powder mandala. Whole Kali Devi on the floor. Takes about 2-3 hours. After that, they put some flowers and then they do the incense and they have this diya, the light. And after that, they just dismantle it. And they said that they've never stopped doing it for 3-4 generations. And that's their practice. Things like this symbolism, practice, it moves me. So even though it's not really in the Tibetan tradition, I've always wanted to ask our own, tantric practitioners, maybe something like this we should do. A Tara practitioner, if you don't like reading sadhanas, how about drawing a Tara by sand powder or a chalk every day? 2 hours it takes, It's as boring and as tough as reading sadhana. And then after doing it, make offerings, homage, obeisance, wipe it out. Sadhana. I'm just telling you what the sadhana is. Sadhana is really not just reading few pages. Sadhana is really getting used to, especially in the Anuyoga Tantra, sadhana is getting used to myself being the deity. If you are a Dorje Tole practitioner, and if you happen to, I'm especially addressing this to the beer boys. I have noticed that the beer boys' obsession is riding on bike. This is a new one, I don't know. I haven't noticed this before. I think it's better than sniffing plants. I'm suggesting if you happen to ride a bike, sometimes if you think the bike is a tiger and then you are Guru Rinpoche, I will sort of quietly tell you this is okay, this is good. In the traditional sense, maybe it's a little bit too much, but as long as something reminds you the deity, and the deity being the luminosity and shunyata, right? So whenever you are being reminded with whatever tools, reminders, that's sadhana. When you are comfortable thinking, when you are comfortable with this innate deity, then that's called drupthop. Drupthop and drupthop. Drupthop being the sadhana, drupthop mahasiddha, not really mahasiddha, I should siddha. Ordinary siddha is fine. If you, in the very crude language, comfortable with your body, comfortable with your speech, comfortable with your mind. That is yoga. Yoga? Now the yoga, the moment the word yoga is uttered, you are thinking about asana and the yoga mat and Bali and Goa. But yoga is basically, if you can't chew the solid food, yet I would interpret yoga as a practice of balancing, not only body. Body is actually the least important, balancing your prana and balancing your mind. But if you have achieved this ability to chew the solid, then the interpretation of yoga is different. Yoga, null, jor, null, null. The word, the null, has something to do with the absolute or the real deal, the real thing. Jor is basically empowering or owning, possessing, owning, equipped it with. So when a person is equipped, or when a person can own and own the null, the real deal, the nature, then it's like this. Confidence, okay, so like this is water. I can tell you confidently, totally with a confidence, I will, this is water and this is wet. I can tell you confidently. I will have no second thoughts. I will have nothing to hide. When I say this is water and this is wet, I don't have to sort of second, check, confirm. I don't need to second verify. I don't need anybody to verify with. This is what yogi or the yoga, I'm talking about the yoga because it's kind of important in the sadhana. Yoga is so really confident with the real thing, like in the real, this is water, this is real. So I have no problem to tell you this is water. So a yogi is someone who has really understood the real deal of whatever the phenomena. Well, real deal, let's begin with anicca, dukkha, anatta. Yes, it looks like it's permanent, but it isn't. And when the yogi knows this, yogi is confident. The yogi is confident in the fact that it is impermanent. And based on that, there's so much courage, so much confidence. Even if the yogi has to lie at times, it's permanent. But inside the yogi knows it's impermanent. He will confidently tell you lies. Because he knows it's actually not. So he will know this is prank. This is a, diversion. That's yoga, real yoga. So sadhana also, sometimes we call it, especially in the Sakya and Kagyupa tradition, the word yoga is very much used. For instance, those who are practicing Vajrayogini in the Sakya tradition, they use the term yoga. So they have I forgot now, 11 yogas or something. It's like the whole 24 hours practice. Waking up yoga, sleeping yoga, eating yoga, like that. But it's all relating with the phenomena with their true nature is the yoga. The moment you are not relating with them, then it's a bit like, it's a bit like if I ask Raghav, Raghav? I'm sure you cannot miss. It's a very giant phenomena. If not I ask, actually, if Raga pretended to be a woman going round, he will always be looking behind. Not because unsure, not confident, because you know you are doing the imposter, not true. So how we relate to the world, you have no confidence because you only have vague ideas, and on top of that you have wrong ideas. How? All the impermanent things, you think they are permanent. All the dukkhas, you think them as a sukhas. All the things that are anatta or illusion, you think as real. So you have no confidence. All the confidence and seemingly confidence that you have is just a show, and you know that very well, and it just sort of bogs you down. So this is sort of quite not good, I would say, but generalized introduction to Upanikrama, more the Upanikrama. Tomorrow we will talk about the sadhana speech still, but more on the Sampanikrama aspect, sort of the dissolution and the shunyata. But big part of this you have already heard, but I will still repeat and point out. Because it is the part of the sadhana. So anyway, Upanikrama or Sampanikrama, always, it's good to dedicate. Again, even the dedication, one can have it with a tantric attitude of dedication. You can, more than non-tantric is, I want to give my merit to all the sentient beings so that they will be awakened. The tantric is something like, I'm quoting, I will quote now Terda Lingpa, which is a great master of Nyingmapa. Nangda Riksum Ha Chupingo, Kindirapata Niti. Kudang Yishirapa Jamlebe, Sapsang Nanjursim bin Yamlela, Yerme Tuji Tile Rochik Show. This is a grand dedication from the master called Terda Lingpa, great Mindroling master. By the way, he said this and he passed into the parinirvana. He said this and then he ended. I think correct way of putting is Zukukopa Ingsudu, such a beautiful word. It's like he said that, and then for the time being, it sounds like it has that feeling for the time being, because the show, the curtain, and then the next show. So this show is over. So for the time being, the curtain is drawn. That's the attitude he gives you. And then, of course, the ongoing great Mindroling manifestations. Anyway, Nangda Riksum Hanga Chugin, it's very difficult to translate. Nangda Riksum Hanga Chugin, so some Egyptian Yamlen. Nangda, all the appearance, sound, thoughts, all as deity, mantra, and Dharmakaya. They are all nothing but a different angle or display of kayas and jhanas. Now there's one word which is almost impossible to translate. Jamlepe. Not jamlepe. Jamle. I don't know how to translate this. There are some really good translators. Please ask them. But it has something to do. How is it translated? Jamle. All pervaded. Okay. I will give you I will not translate, but I will sort of give you the image or the feeling. I will try. It's something like this. You have a big mirror, and then in the mirror there's a reflection of a ice cream and a reflection of a shit. Okay, you are looking at the reflection, and then you are looking at the shit and you feel disgusted. You are looking at the reflection of the ice cream and you are famished. How I don't know, what's the word? How silly is that, okay? Because both ice cream, the good ice cream and the bad, the shit, are equally just a reflection. Oh, this example has so much. The base, the mirror, doesn't even know there is a reflection going on him or on whatever. That is how the great Dada Lingpa sees things. So, death, the baddie, the, antagonist, the birth, protagonist, the goodie, the baddie, all reflecting in the mirror of the Dharmakaya, whatever, the state. But he knows there's an audience, so he feels obliged to sometimes open the curtain and sometimes close the curtain. So he says, he draws the curtain by saying, may all sentient beings are also reflection in that, including himself and including so-called the merit that you are dedicating, all just like a reflection. That's how the Tantrikas would dedicate. Okay, that's it.